live on YouTube, which we are now. We are now live on YouTube. So let's get the YouTube party started as well. So we are on Twitch. This is Giants 02122 on Twitch, and also you are watching on YouTube. So this is the pre-show. Facebook Live is going to happen at 8:00 unless we have some kind of Facebook problem, which you never know. You never know with our good old friends over at the Facebook whether or not they let me go live or not. But if we don't, we'll be on. Publish. So as I was saying on the Twitch stream, as it started up, we are getting ready for the Facebook Live, which comes your way 8:00. So about 20 minutes here of the pre-show that is going to show up. And we are, like I said, we're on Twitch, twitch.tv/Giants, like the New York Giants, 02122. If you guys have anything you want to say, drop it in the comments. I will be on both as much as I can. So just let me know what you guys are looking to talk about. So normally what I do on the streams is I share some of the diecasts that I have behind me and I talk about them. So the last episode we did a lot of the Bubba Wallace stuff. We didn't do a lot of some of the other stuff on here. So what I'm going to do is we're going to talk tonight about a couple of different kind of cool cars that I have in the collection. This first one we're going to talk about is this Mark Martin inspired car. Okay. This is the Matt Kenseth prototype from the 2018 season. Matt won the pole for the All-Star in this car. Okay. So I ended up with this prototype from a fellow Kenseth collector who had an opportunity to buy the door number prototype. So normally Lionel makes up to 6 prototypes of a particular car. This one is number 3. So the one that my friend ended up buying off of Lionel was number 6. So I ended up with number 3. He has number 6. So we each ended up with our own prototype. But this was a kind of a cool piece. Like I said, Mark Martin drove this paint scheme originally in 1998 to the All-Star win. And like I said, Matt Kenseth drove this in 2018 in his return to Roush Fenway, which started at Kansas. This was the first pole he won and the only pole he won at Roush in his return. And he drove this car in the All-Star race and did not have a very good night, to be honest with you. But a cool diecast piece to have nonetheless. And the produced version is over here, actually. And this one's kind of even more special because this one has Matt's autograph on the front, and it's got Mark Martin's autograph on the rear. And this was the elite model that they came out with. And this is number 50 of I believe 100 that they made, or I'm sorry, out of 60 that they made that were dual signed by Mark and Matt. So kind of a cool couple of pieces in the collection. And I don't think some of you can see all the stuff that's up here because there's a lot of stuff that is, it's kind of weird how the angles of the Twitch stream and the angle of the YouTube stream are a little bit different, but nothing crazy. It's all good. So another car we're going to talk about tonight is a couple of these Dale Jr. cars I got behind me. This first one is the Goodies car that Dale drove in an Xfinity race in 2017. This car was one of the cars that was at Plan B sales during their Dale Jr. Day that they had him there at the facility. He signed a whole bunch of die cast, and this is one that I added to my collection. Ironically, this is number 86 out of the hundreds of these that were made. This is number 86. Dale obviously drives the 88, so a couple off of that door number, which I'm sure Dale Jr. owns anyhow. But that was a kind of a cool car, and this is one that's kind of got a sweet spot in the collection. So that was from 2017. And then the car directly in front of it is the car that Dale drove now 2 years ago. He drove this Hellman's car in 2018, and he almost won the damn thing at Richmond with it. This paint scheme looks familiar to some folks because this is a very similar Hellman scheme that Dale Jr. Has driven. You know, or Hellman's has put on the other Junior Motorsports car. It's been on the 7. It's been on Justin Allgaier's car as well, you know, which is a 7. But it's been on some of the other ones. It's been on the 9, I believe, with Chase, and then it was on the 9, I think. Maybe not with Chase, but maybe it was Byron had the 9. With probably not with Hellman's either. And Gregson has had the 9 with some Unilever sponsorship. I don't even think Hellman's has been on the 9 either. I think it's mostly been some of the other ones. We talked a lot about these cars up here, kind of in the Bubba Wallace range. This is kind of a cool car. This is Alex Bowman's first ever NASCAR win. This was his Charlotte oval win, the last win for an Xfinity driver on the oval in the fall. So Bowman got that job done, and this was kind of a cross deal between Hendrick and Ganassi. This is actually a Chip Ganassi fielded car. Ganassi was running full time with this particular entry this year in 2017, and they had an opportunity to put Bowman in the car for 2 races. And Vinoy Construction was an associate sponsor on that car, and they ran this car, and it had HendrickCars.com as the primary. That's why it is in those colors. And Bowman won his first ever Xfinity race driving this car. And then if memory serves me right, he had a terrible run at Phoenix in this car. He did not do well in the 42 at Phoenix, but had a great run in that car at Charlotte, getting his first career Xfinity win. And Bowman doesn't do Xfinity pretty much anymore anyhow. Very interesting. Some other cars to discuss. We still got about 13 minutes here. Trying to see what other ones are kind of cool. Got a couple down here in the Mark Martin collection that are worth talking about. This first one is a very cool car. This is a prototype. So this is the Mark Martin Gunmetal. This is the 25. This was a car he ran in 2011. This was a 2011 car. This was a tribute to the Budweiser days. Okay. They ran this car as part of their, I think this was the 30th anniversary of Hendrick, if I'm not mistaken, this particular car. They ran this as a tribute to that. The gunmetal is the finish, but if you look at it, it's really just a polished up metal car, in my honest opinion. It's not, you know, anything other than that. It just looks like it's really polished up. It's got some really cool, you know, depth to the chroming in the metalwork on this. But this was a solid red car, and I also have this car in a red color chrome prototype as well. But I was pretty honored to add this gunmetal version late last year. I was able to add this to the diecast collection, so a lot of folks haven't seen that one, at least in my collection, and a couple other Mark Martin collectors' hands. I think it's traded hands a couple times, but you know, we've had a lot of fun with that. Let's see what else is going on out here. I got somebody trying to message me on Facebook. Okay. Yeah, I mean, okay, that's great, Brandon. You got the done one. I don't know what you want me to do. You want me to buy it off of you? I don't think I'm going to buy it. I have, I have, I have some din ones, but I don't need that particular one. Um, Looking at some other pieces here, seeing some other stuff that's worth sharing. I think most of you guys have seen some of these cars. This is one I think a lot of people have not seen tremendously much of because of the driver. But this is a cool one. So this is Matt Kenseth back in 2012 or 11. I'm sorry. This is 11. Matt had a lot of random sponsors. Affliction was one of the one-off deals that they put together. Because Crown Royal was getting out of the sport, and they were selling off races to basically anybody and everybody they could to try to get some recovery on that sponsorship, because they were just realizing that they were just getting out of NASCAR. It just wasn't their cup of tea, and the economy was not doing great at this time. So they were trying to sell races off, and Affliction was a company that I think Matt had bought some apparel from them and stuff, and Matt was a fan of their stuff. So Matt, they put a deal together to sponsor Matt in a one-off deal, and this Affliction car is very hard to come by because, like I said, they didn't make a ton of these, and the only other time this paint scheme, this all-black car ran, was at Dover, and Matt won the race there at Dover with Wiley X as a sponsor. But it was the same basic black car, okay, and Affliction was on the car the other time they ran the all-black car. But otherwise, they had different sponsors on here. I know Kroger was on here one race, and they had some other random sponsors in 2011. But that was kind of a neat car, Matt. Like I said, that was a one-off deal, and you didn't see a lot of diecast being made off of one-off deals. Trying to look and see what else is up here that's kind of cool to talk about. There's another kind of cool one-off car that a lot of people have looked for a long time, which is this Brad Keselowski. This is the Thomas's Built Buses scheme. This was a car Brad ran a few years ago, and then he ran it, I think, last year, if I'm not mistaken, as well. But this Thomas's Built Buses paint scheme was one that they did as a one-off at Martinsville a few years back, and then they brought it back. Thomas has sponsored Brad a couple years, actually, I think last year. But it was at a different track. It wasn't at Martinsville. The infamous Penske scallops on the side of the car. A very sore a very sore subject for a lot of Penske fans. And if you look, there's several other examples of the Penske scallops up here as well. Just for a lot of people, it's unoriginal paint, not original paint schemes. You see the Dex Imaging car has these Penske scallops on it. So does Joey Logano's Shell Pennzoil car, which was really the first one that they did the scallops on. And then they kind of, have just used it as the main paint scheme. You can see it here on the Dex car. Okay. I'm pretty sure I'm going to pick out another scallop car right here. Nope. Actually, I picked the one up that's not a scallop car. Very odd. This one behind it is not a scallop car. But there's other scallops up here that I have buried in that shelf. But this is like I said, the scallops were a thing that started way back when. We have another kind of cool Mark Martin car. This is the Limpton T car. This is the car that Mark drove in a one-off deal with Junior Motorsports. And when I mean one-off deal, is one-off deal with Limpton. This was a car Mark ran at Richmond. And, he drove a couple of races for Dale Jr. He most famously won the race out at Las Vegas, driving this number 5 car that some of you might be aware of. This is the Delphi Chevrolet that Mark won at Las Vegas, which is Junior Motorsports' first career win as a team. And I got Mark to autograph this car at Roush Fan Days back in 2018. So I've had this car for a couple years. I probably only had it for a few months before I got Mark to autograph it. But it's a very neat car. It's one that is not easy to come by. This car was also then put on a Cup car that Mark drove when he was driving for Hendrick. But Mark drove for Junior Motorsports first, I believe. He drove for Junior back in 7. He was driving for them on a part-time basis. Like I said, this 5 car was the first time that Junior Motorsports was ever in Victory Lane. So a little fun fact there for you Junior fans that might have forgotten about that. Now, the difference between this car and this car is that car was put on the normal standard body. This was put on this body is weird. And I think I could show you guys the best example of this. Now, so this is the gold model. This is a hood opening only model. The trunk doesn't open. Okay, so this is kind of like a flash forward of what the cars are like today. A lot of these up here, like this is a hood open, this is a hood open. But if you look at the body on these cars, they're very odd. They're not really well built bodies. They look bizarre. They don't look as nice as some of the other ones. But if you look at this car and this car, okay, the Mark Martin car here and this Mark Martin car, they look a little different. And they are different. But they're both very hard to find. Very hard to find cars. And like I said, one-off deal with Mark. And then this car, this is the other Dale Jr. car that I got from Plan B. I got actually both of these Mark cars from Plan B, and these were both cars, I think it came out of the same spot. The same person had them and sold them to Plan B, and then they turned around and sold them to me. And I got this one. This is a Dale Jr. car, a very hard to find car as well. This was ran at Atlanta, if I'm not mistaken. Degree Men was on the car. This is, again, a Unilever deal. Same deal as the Hellman's car, same deal as that Limpton car down there. But this is Unilever, and they have Degree Men that they were promoting, and the V12 was a limited edition deodorant that they put together. And Dale Jr. drove this car. And also, I think this ended up on an Eric Almirola 88 car at one time. But the Almirola car is a little more common, and this is a little bit more rare because Junior drove this as a one-off deal at Atlanta, I want to say, if I'm not mistaken. And Junior did drive the 5 in Xfinity part-time as part of the Junior Motorsports deal. But after that, he went to the 88, as you can see here. And that was his number as he went forward at Junior Motorsports. But he did drive the 5 for a little bit, which was ironically the car number spot. I mean, he took the spot of Kyle Busch, but they put him basically in Brian Vickers' old race car and stuff like that. And you can see, like I said, Mark drove the 5 in Xfinity for Junior for a couple races, but he also drove the 5 in the Cup car as well. All right, guys. Well, we're getting closer and closer to the 8 o'clock start time for our Facebook Live. So don't forget to check us out on Facebook, facebook.com/thecrewchief. We will be going live in about 2 minutes over on Facebook. So you want to make sure you have Facebook all up and ready and raring to go. And we'll be able to talk to you guys over there. Nothing going on in the Twitch stream. So that's that. We will load our Facebook stuff. And usually right around half a second before, or half a minute before I go live on Facebook, I kind of kick the streams off for the pre-stuff, because that way there's no problems. But I gotta get the old Facebook up and running here, so we will be kind of focusing on that. But here for the last 30, 40 seconds or whatever we have left here, we are going to stay on the pre-show. And like I said, don't forget to check out our stuff on. Oh, I screwed up. We are not going to go at 8. I can tell you that right now. That is going to be. Come on. There we go. One button can throw you way off on the streams. All right. We are going to hit the go live once it pops up. Go live, go live. All right. Well, we're at 8 o'clock, so I'm going to go focus on the Facebook stream. Catch us on there, facebook.com/thecrewchief. Yes, I want to end.